Hello, my name is Gregory Jones, and I've written a book called The Macroeconomic Laws. And you can purchase a copy at Ex Libris, Amazon, or Barnes & Noble. Well, thinking about things, I could just read from my book right here. The Globalist. Globalization comes from the notion of one world Marxism, where there would be a global government with a global economy and a global labor market. The Marxists use this notion to break down borders and promote immigration. Economic growth is a product of free enterprise, not free trade or globalization. As our founding fathers tell in our Declaration of Independence, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. So rights are balanced with law. Global government takes away too many rights from the individual. Local power is lost. Redistribution of wealth becomes prohibitive. Foreigners could get together and confiscate our wages. The absence of government or law brings chaos. Murder and theft could occur with impunity. The nation-state is a balance between these two extremes, where individual rights are balanced with law. This notion came from Europe. The most fundamental law is the power to control citizenship. Without borders, wages and culture could not be protected. People in other countries have no right to immigrate to our country unless we allow it. We are an independent and sovereign nation-state. Our Constitution does not recognize the interests of people in other countries. It recognizes the right of the American people to protect their interests, including their wages and their culture. Before the United States was formed, hundreds of years ago, there were no nation-states except for in Europe. And this is because there were simply many warring tribes who were at war with each other, and they respected no borders or laws or rights. They were simply warring tribes, and they were called savages, of course. And the nation-state began in Europe, as I said. England, of course, recognized rights under the Magna Carta hundreds of years ago. Joan of Arc founded the nation of France. And actually Merlin, of course, founded the United Kingdom. Under the Round Table, he took the warring tribes there and formed a nation by giving them each all equal rights under a round table. And of course the United Kingdom was the first nation formed in this sense. And France, of course, was founded by Joan of Arc. and the states formed in Europe, and then they sought to conquer their frontiers, North America, which was inhabited by savage Indians. And these Indians respected no laws and allowed no rights, and there were no borders there or anything, just warring tribes. And so when the Europeans came, they tried to civilize them, of course. They tried to teach them law, and they offered them the right to vote, but of course the Indians refused. Instead, they made war with the Europeans, so the Europeans, the Englishmen, destroyed them. In South America, of course, the Spaniards conquered South America, and they mixed in with the Indians there. Those Indians were not as warlike, not as savage as the North American Indians, and so they married these Spaniards. And this is how the world was settled. And Marxism, of course, is a system which is anti-capitalistic and opposed to the nation-state. It seeks to destroy. Marxist revolution is based on class warfare or racial warfare, and it seeks to bring down the nation-state. And Marx said that the Marxist state would replace the nation-state after Marxist revolution. And then he said that the Marxist state would wither away, leaving a perfect society. Well, the Marxist state didn't wither away. The economy withered away, and it didn't leave a perfect society. So Marx, of course, was simply wrong or lying. And what he really sought was destruction, of course, destruction of the nation-state system, and destruction of the economies of the countries of the world, just as the journalists seek to destroy the U.S. economy with immigration, of course. And the journalists, of course, promote overpopulation through these conservative structures, including control of the Catholic Church. They promote overpopulation by opposing contraception. They tell the Catholic Church that the Catholic Church should oppose contraception because contraception encourages abortion. Well, that is not very good policy to oppose contraception, because that has overpopulated the world, causing a great deal of suffering. And sure, abortion causes some suffering, but not nearly as much as overpopulation, which is a result of the absence of contraception in many areas. And that's promoted by the Catholic Church under the encouragement or the fraud of the journalists. The journalists on the right, the conservative journalists, tell the Catholic Church not to support contraception because it encourages abortion or abortion policy. Well, that's not very responsible to oppose contraception because you oppose abortion. It's not very responsible, and it has led to a great deal of suffering, the poverty of the world that comes about from overpopulation. You'll note that Latin America is largely Catholic, and they're influenced by the Catholic Church, and this has caused the overpopulation in Latin America. And there are other Catholic countries as well that have overpopulation problems. So the Catholic Church needs to change their policy to promoting contraception and opposing abortion. Of course, that's a legitimate argument. As I have said, I'm a Republican and I oppose abortion. I'm pro-life. But of course, I'm strongly in favor of contraception, of course, and we should do everything we can to promote contraception because it reduces the birth rate. In Africa, they found that giving health care to children reduces the birth rate in Africa, because the mothers don't have as many children when they find out that the children that they do have are likely to survive with better health care, and then they don't bear more children, and that actually reduces the birth rate. Improved health care reduces the birth rate in Africa. Because Africa is overpopulated and Africa has Marxist economies. And so you see a great deal of suffering going on. That's what you see on this planet. And here's this crazy shirt that I'm wearing by some band that has no songs there. Yeah, they have, it's a picture of some Catholic nuns there holding guns, you know, with smiles on their faces. It's not very good to me. I just happen to own the shirt, so I'm wearing it. I tell you, I feel kind of bloated and feel a little lousy. Not really lousyitis, but just not so good. I got a dread of all the pain that I'm going to be going through. And so, that's what it is anyways.